YouTube, Ian Real, right back at you with What to Do with a Dollar. This next episode is Keeping Strict Accounts, Part 2, the basics of building your business. We'll be right back at you after this promo.
What to Do with a Dollar, EM Real.
All right, YouTube, Ian Real, and What to Do with a Dollar. This episode, Keeping Strict Accounts, Part 2, the basics of building your business. Listen, hit the like, hit the subscribe button, share, and let's get to it. All right. Now, our last episode, we were talking about keeping strict accounts. Remember, we talked about the assets minus the liabilities is your net worth on a monthly basis. Okay, well, let's continue. Well, now that you have your net worth on a monthly basis, times 12 is your net worth on a yearly basis. Now, we're just talking about what you've done is concretize your spending. You've paid attention to where your money goes. You're paying attention to what comes in and what goes out. I was talking to one of my business partners and we were talking about, basically what you don't manage, you lose. Think about it. What we're talking about now is managing your mind, managing your money, and soon managing your business. Let's continue. All right, so now you've gotten an idea what your in and what your out is as far as your business is concerned personally. So now I'm going to show you how I scaled up by knowing what I was doing with my money exactly. I budgeted it all the way down to zero. That's what I said. I budgeted everything down to zero. So now here's the basis of how I started a business. So I worked 2 jobs. How many did I say? 2. I worked in the educational field, making about $42,000 to $45,000 a year. No big deal. And I also had a side hustle. I did security. So now think about this. I worked a job as an educator, 7:30 to 3:30. But then I also worked from 10 that night to 6 that morning. The education job, of course, is 5 days a week. And the security job was at night, was at least 4 to 5 days a week. So at least I was going in anywhere from 75 to 80 hours a week. But I used my disciplined spending on both. The 10, 70. But in my case, I actually did a little better. I was doing 10, 15, 15, 60. And it even got to the point to where I was doing 10, 20, 20, 50. So long story short, over a 2-year period, I was able to save right at $30,000. Between $25,000 and $30,000 because of that disciplined spending. And then one of the things I've learned also in business, what you don't manage will leave you. You got to learn in business to manage relationships, partnerships. You even have to learn how to manage clients. So while I was disciplining myself for those 2 years and saving the money, I also procured and secured a relationship. So I got a business partner to offer me and lend me $30,000 to $35,000, along with my $30,000, and this is what I did. I always had a dream to build homes. So I got started. So now, I got started by getting ready to build a home, and guess what I did? Knowing how to write all my assets down, knowing how to write all my liabilities down, I was able to build my first house for $60,000. And with a pencil, I wrote every liability. That means everything that I spent on the house in a notebook. Yes, in a notebook. I wrote it down. Now, in starting this, here's the first thing I did. I bought a piece of land for $900. It's adjudicated property. Look at your municipality for where you are. And for taxes, not going into it too deep, for the taxes purposes, you can buy land on adjudicated. That was $900. And then from there, I was able to enroll in a class to become a contractor. That was $450. Also, to take the test cost me $450. The application for the test was $100. Then I had to get insurance. So to be a contractor in the state of Louisiana, you have to have insurance, like liability for car insurance. In this case, I had to have general liability to be a contractor and a workman's comp. Now, through this insurance company, I had to put down about $3,000 down, and still to this day, I pay almost $300+ a month to maintain the license. So imagine all that money to get my contracted business started. But here's the kicker. It got down to the point to where now, as the qualifying party to be a contractor with my business that I started, and we'll talk about starting your LLC later, but right now just focus on this point. They wanted me to do a financial statement. They wanted to know how much money did I have, assets and my liabilities, and I needed to have a financial statement done by a CPA. So think about it. With job number one, job number two, job number one I was making about $45,000. Job number two, about $24,000. So in one job, 10% of my income at that time was about $250. The other 10 was another $250, so I was saving about $500 to $600 a month with this one job. And then my part-time job, about $300 to $250 to $300 over a period of time. In 1 year now, I was able to come up with at least $9,000. So that being said, I had about $9,000, along with the fact that, of course, it ran over for 2 years. So altogether, maybe $18,000, but I spent money on the pre-situations that I had when I had to take the test. I had to do the contractor's license, but I had to at least have $10,000 available to me to start my business. So once I did my income statement and I turned it in, I qualified because I had disciplined myself in spending and I had the money available. That being said, I was able to build the house. That house, of course, you got the land, you got the permit, the foundation, you do the framing, the roof work. Not necessarily going to give you the details in building a house, but I was able to build that first house because I was disciplined in spending. And even though it was my first one, I had already set myself with a regiment, a sequence of knowing where my money is going and where my money is being spent on, how it's being spent. So I spent $60,000 and I sold that first house for $80,000. So I made a $20,000 come up. That was the first income I made through building my house, because it all started with keeping strict accounts. I'm Ian Real. Now that is Keeping Strict Accounts Part 2. Our next episode is in how does a keeping strict accounts turn into credit with the bank based on the business we started. I'm Ian Real. It's been wonderful. Remember what to do with $1. Hit the like, hit the subscribe button, share, and be back with me next week, which is keeping strict accounts, now moving into business credit. Take care. Take charge. Till next time. Peace.
What to do with a dollar. EM Real.